couple of the others I might mention is a story called "I'm Still in There Pitching," which was a story of a pharmacist mate on a submarine, an American submarine, who had to perform a appendectomy, an emergency appendectomy, and he'd never done the surgery before. All he had was a book on how to do it, and but he succeeded in doing an operation on board a submarine. True story. Some other ones called like little poems called "The Island," where children play on this grassy patch in the middle of a field that hadn't been mowed yet, and they flew kites and they ran and they played dogs and played baseball and stuff. I also illustrated a story that I particularly like called George Washington's Breakfast. I mention these stories because I suspect in the audience there are people who have gone through Adventist education as young people and may actually remember some of these stories. I like it when I hear people come up to me and say, you know, I was a child in school and I remember that story. I remember reading that. I remember the illustrations. George Washington's Breakfast was about a boy who was doing a school report on what did George Washington eat for breakfast. And he actually went to Mount Vernon and did research on it. He asked the tour guide there, he asked the park ranger, and apparently it was hoe cakes. That was a very popular thing, sort of like our modern day pancakes. And that's what they often ate in those days. So the illustration was kind of fun. I actually put one of the models, young boy, in a costume looking like George Washington. And I even bought a white wig, which I still have, to make him look the part. These kind of illustrations are very enjoyable for me. It's been a long time since I've done smaller, quick illustrations like this. But in fact, when I think about it, that was 35, 36 years ago. So even remembering some of the details of how they were brought about is a little bit fuzzy for me sometimes. But I think young people need to know about these kind of men and women who showed such great integrity and decency and honesty, especially at a time like we face now. I've done 3 paintings on Abraham Lincoln because I believe he was a very, very admirable man and sought to know what God's will was in one of the most difficult, challenging times of our nation's history. It's important to have mentors and examples of people who have gone before that can demonstrate these characteristics to us. I also think it's kind of profound when I think about it. Hank Aaron was born in 1934. My father was born in 1934. Hank Aaron passed away just about a week ago. My father passed away about a month ago. And my father's life was also a life of integrity and honesty and decency, a man that I admire and look up to. And I just think that there needs to be more men and women like this in our life, in our world, in our nation. And I think also I wanted to share with you that my own growing up years in Adventist schools like Southfield Junior Academy and Cedar Lake Academy and Andrews University were really profound years for me. And they did have a significant influence on the path that I chose as a career. I had various interests in life when I came to college age. I actually was a pre-med student thinking I wanted to be a physician. But I met a man named Harry Anderson when I was 17 for the first time. And I didn't know it at the time, but meeting him and his influence on me would have a profound effect on my career. Harry Anderson was an Adventist illustrator, artist, and had a pretty significant influence on Adventist publishing in the probably 1940 through 1960s or 70s. And after meeting him, I definitely felt the Holy Spirit nudging me to choose a similar path. And that's sort of the way it's developed for me. I hope young people who see this broadcast will understand that there are many people in this world who mean only the best, and still have decent and honest characters. And these are the people we should emulate in our own lives. Thank you.